Before we begin, remember that this video is for educational purposes only and isn't legal advice. Always consult a qualified attorney for your specific situation. Legal jargon can be intimidating, but understanding the basics can protect you. Are you about to sign a contract you downloaded for free online? Before you click print, you need to know if that piece of paper will actually hold up in court. Today, we're breaking down the hidden risks of legal templates and showing you exactly when they work and when they could cost you thousands in legal fees later. Alright, let's start with the real-world problem. This is the part that helps you understand what is actually going on before you spend money on a template that might not even apply to you. Many people assume a contract is universal, but law is localized. A lease agreement in California has completely different requirements for security deposits and disclosures than one in Texas. If your template doesn't account for state-specific statutes, a judge might toss the whole thing out. Always check if the site explicitly states which state laws the document follows. Laws change constantly, especially regarding labor, privacy, and consumer protection. A template created in 2018 might be missing critical updates required by 2024 standards. Using an outdated form is like using an old map for a new city. You're going to get lost. Look for a last revised date on any template you consider. Even a perfect document is invalid if it isn't signed correctly. Some documents require 2 witnesses, others need a notary, and some specifically forbid electronic signatures in certain states. People often focus so much on the words that they forget the how of signing. Check your local requirements for proper execution before you finalize. Templates aren't all bad. In fact, they can be a great starting point if you know which situations are low risks enough for a DIY approach. Non-disclosure. Agreements are often very standard and work well as templates for basic business meetings. If you're just sharing a simple idea with a potential partner, a reputable template is usually sufficient. It sets the tone that you take your intellectual property seriously without costing a fortune. Just ensure the definition of confidential information isn't too broad. Selling a used car or a piece of furniture? A basic bill of sale template is perfect here. It documents the transfer of ownership, the price, and the as-is condition of the item. You don't need a $400 an hour attorney to document the sale of a $2,000 mountain bike. It provides a paper trail that protects both buyer and seller. One of the best uses for a template is education. By reading through a high-quality template, you learn what the standard industry terms are. Even if you eventually hire a lawyer, you'll be much better prepared for the conversation. You'll know which clauses you want to fight for and which ones you're okay with changing. Quick reminder, this is educational content only, not legal advice. Laws vary by jurisdiction, so always check with a local attorney. Now we need to talk about the danger zones. These are situations where a cheap template can lead to a very expensive disaster. If you're starting a business with partners, don't use a generic operating agreement. These templates often fail to address deadlocks. What happens when you and your partner disagree 50 or 50? They also often miss specific vesting schedules for equity. A bad operating agreement is the #1 cause of expensive business divorces later on. Employment law is a minefield. Many states, like California and Minnesota, have strictly banned or limited non-compete clauses. If your template includes a lesser-known non-compete, it might invalidate the entire employment agreement. You could end up being sued for wrongful termination or wage theft simply because your template followed the wrong rules. If you're hiring a freelancer to build your website or design a logo, you need a very specific work-made-for-hire clause. Generic templates often leave the ownership in the hands of the creator rather than the buyer. You could pay thousands for a website only to find out you don't actually own the code. This is a high-stakes area where precision is mandatory. Let's look at the economics of templates. Sometimes freeze is the most expensive price you can pay. Many freeze template sites are actually lead generation tools or subscription traps. You spend an hour filling out the form, only to find you have to pay $39.99 a month to download it. Often, people forget to cancel these subscriptions, turning a freeze document into a $500 mistake over a year. Always check the pricing model before you start typing. A lawyer might charge you $1,000 to draft a solid contract. However, if your $50 template fails, a lawsuit could cost you $50,000 in legal fees alone. This is the risk-premium trade-off. If the value of the deal is more than $10,000, the insurance of a professionally drafted contract is almost always worth the upfront cost. Templates often include boilerplate language that sounds professional but is actually unenforceable. For example, some indemnities clauses are written so broadly that a court will simply ignore them. If you rely on a clause for protection and it's found to be unconscionable, you're left completely exposed. Quality matters more than quantity of words. So, how do you decide when to use a template and when to call a pro? Use this simple framework. Ask yourself, what is the worst-case scenario if this document is ignored? If the answer is a small loss of money or a minor inconvenience, a template is fine. If the answer is losing your business, your home, or your intellectual property, you need a human lawyer. High risk requires high-level professional review. There's a middle ground. You can find a high-quality template and then pay a lawyer for a limited scope representation to review it for 1 hour. This usually costs much less than a full drafting service, but gives you the peace of mind that the document is valid in your state. It's the most cost-effective way to get professional protection. Not all template sites are equal. Look for sites that are backed by actual law firms or that have a high volume of verified user reviews. Avoid sites that look like they haven't been updated since 2005. A good provider will offer a clear explanation of what the document does and doesn't cover before you buy it. That's the practical version of what matters most. Online templates are valid tools, but they aren't a set it and forget it solution. The big idea is to understand your risk level, compare the cost of a template against the cost of a mistake, and avoid rushing into an expensive decision without context. If this helped you understand the legal landscape a bit better, like and subscribe for more practical guides from Lawful Finder. We help you compare costs, understand the law, and choose the right path with confidence. Comment below with the legal topic you want to explain next. Thanks for watching. Remember, this is educational only and not legal advice. Always consult a qualified attorney before making legal decisions. Subscribe for more plain English legal explainers.